attention to, where our correspondent Tolulope Ogunjobi is standing by to bring us update. Tolu, what can you tell us at the moment? We understand that your collation was supposed to start, I think, 2 p.m., resume at 2 p.m. What's going on in Cross River?
Yes, you can see around me now, and in this room behind me, that's the Mike Igini conference hall that is happening there now. The three local governments are yet to reel out their results, are doing that now. Atampa is doing his now. We have Boki and another local government is expected. They are all in the hall. And immediately after reeling out these figures, it is expected that they will go on a 30-minute break, then come back to announce who wins this election. 11 contestants, 11 political parties took part in this governorship elections, and the same 11 parties took part in the constituency elections for 25 constituency elective posts, and 187 persons contested for that. But for the governorship, it's about wrapping up in the next few minutes. I'm sure the winners will be announced. You can see watertight security around this locality. You see men of the Nigerian police force in full glare. You see men of the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps are also here. Men of the Federal Road Safety Corps are also here. Men of the Nigerian Immigration Service are here. Men of the Nigerian Customs Service are here. Just mention it. They are all here. Everywhere is properly secured to make sure that nothing happens and everything goes on lawfully as it should go. But aside that, 15 of the local governments have already been announced yesterday, and it was supposed to kick off at 10 a.m. this morning. But because of the delay, because we have some local governments that are as far as 6 hours, 7 hours to Calabar town. So you know what that means. So they have to take their time to get here and put together a result before they make the presentation. So that is the much I can report to you at the moment. In the next few minutes, we'll know who the next governor of Cross River State would be, who will take over the People's Paradise. We expect that to happen anytime from now. Precious.
Tolu, from the reports we're getting from other states, our correspondents in other states, there seem to be a trend of party agents bickering over results and making allegations and counter-allegations. What's the situation there with party agents? How are they responding to some of the results being announced in Cross River?
Well, you're correct, but I think in the areas where we had violence prone, like the Bakassi axis of the state, the Ogoja axis of the state, all of those areas where we have the militants and all of that, that was where there were issues, and that was the results from there were actually challenged. But the POs and the officers that brought these results were able to defend it. Even at a point, they said they had to run into the toilet for them to be able to manage to get the results here. So you can see what that means, that some were injured, somebody was shot, and somebody was killed on Saturday here during this process. So you can see it wasn't really easy, but I can tell you that all of that was raised in this room, and they had to do some cancellations because of this. They had to do some regularization of the result. They had to even go and come back. In some cases, they had to tell some people to go put their numbers together and come back to represent, because it had to merge with the figures of the accredited voters, registered voters, and all of the figures must be at par. So that was what played out here. I agree with you. Yes, there were concerns that were raised, but they were also addressed almost immediately. And those that are beyond here, the INEC rec here has said is going to escalate it to the rightful quarters. Precious.
I just behind you, few seconds ago, I saw people moving into that hall. Is that a sign that collation can begin any moment?
We've started already. We've started the first local government. We have 3 local governments to go, and 1 is already reeling the figure. So in another 10, 15 minutes, I guess they should be done, the 3rd local government. And according to the rec, he said they'll go on a break for 30 minutes for them to reconcile these figures and come up with the final figures for the results of this election. Yes, we have started here. We're started.
You talked about the security deployment around the collation center there, but what about security around the state? You mentioned earlier that someone was killed during the election. What is security like around the state, and how are people reacting to some of these reports that are trickling in?
Yes, so we still have when you move on the streets of Calabar, you still see policemen, soldiers, all of them in twos and threes, guiding the roads, and some roads are still barricaded, like roads leading to the INEC head office here where we are is barricaded. You can only go through the other lane. You have to drive one way for you to get here. There are security measures also in major markets in town where you see police and soldiers all working together as joint patrol, making sure that law and order is what is taking place across the city of Calabar. So I would say that the security operatives, they're up to the task. What I've seen so far, they've taken charge, even in those localities where I tell you that it's really, really, really dangerous to even go there. They went there, they took charge, and they were able to, address the challenges they faced. 3 gunboats were deployed to the Bakassi area, according to the REC, and he said it clearly that it's an area that this happens. It's been happening consecutively, and they were expecting, but they didn't know it was going to still be as bad as this, despite their preparedness. So I can tell you that even in the streets of Calabar, in the streets of the south, the north, and the central, we still have heavy presence of security operatives. All of the security operatives joint collaboration. They are making sure that the town is safe and sound. And for the residents, they are optimistic. They are excited already. They are some are even celebrating already. According to them. But we cannot say anything. Nobody can say anything until we hear from this room. This is where the order is from. They are the only ones that have the authority to come up with results. But in the city, people believe that they've elected who they want. They are politically savvy. They understand politics. They are so deep, because you will remember that in this particular state, the sitting governor was of a particular party, and he moved in 2021 to another party. And you can see as of today what is playing out here, real politics, because it's been a fierce battle between both parties, the top parties here in Cross River State. It's an interesting experience. I must say, interesting and exciting experience for us down here, because events are just unfolding by the day. Precious.
Fierce battle between the current party of the former governor and his former party. Thank you so much, Tolu, for that update. We will definitely come back to you when that final announcement is going to be made. Our correspondent Tolulope Ogunjobi live for us in Cross River.